Hey, it's the Empire. Don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell icon for more videos. We taking over. Let's go, champ. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button right now. Let's go.
Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, Baxter Boxing. Now, man, ever since my boy Andy Ruiz announces he has a fight coming up on April 27th, man, close to Cinco de Mayo against Chris Ariola, man, these UK fans, man, they lose it. One in particular, man, Hatman Boxing, he talks about how this pay-per-view was most likely flop. And, I find it extremely interesting that the UK cares so much about what fighters in America are selling and not selling. I find it really rich, really rich. Now, man, if you guys didn't know, man, the biggest commercial star in boxing history that's ever came out of the UK is Anthony Joshua. His biggest records were sold in Andy Ruiz fight, right? In the second fight, they sold over 1.5 million pay-per-view in the UK. These are facts. This is the equivalent of having a Floyd Mayweather lose to a UK fighter, and America saying his next fight that, who really wants to see this guy come in the ring his next fight? He's a nobody. That's basically the equivalent of what UK fight people are saying with Andy Ruiz, and if you think of it that way, it really doesn't make any sense. Andy Ruiz, I understand he was the first undisputed, well, not undisputed, but WBA, WBO, and IBF champion that had Mexican heritage, right? Mexican American that won the heavyweight title, the first ever, right? Not only that, he did it while fighting a undefeated British fighter with basically all knockouts. The only person that Anthony Joshua did knock out at the time was Joseph Parker. That was an extremely big deal. So, I just find it really funny that people in the UK that really want this fight to fail, the reason why they want it to fail is because if Andy Ruiz rejuvenates his career, which is already rejuvenated, that's why he's fighting on pay-per-view, and he becomes more and more relevant, people are going to be talking again about the Andy Ruiz versus Anthony Joshua fight. If you've been following Andy Ruiz, man, he's been losing weight. He changed trainers. He trains with Canelo Alvarez and Ryan Garcia and Eddie Renenzo. He's with the elite level talent, and it seems as though he's on the right path for superstardom. So the more relevant he becomes, the more they're gonna keep pushing Andy Ruiz versus these elite fighters in the UK. If you follow sport, Dillian White always has Andy Ruiz's name in his mouth. These are facts. Outside of Anthony Joshua, people are still talking about Andy Ruiz in the UK simply because they've been made aware of him and they've seen his talent on full display against their best guy in the UK history. Now, me personally, man, I think commercially, Anthony Joshua, he is more commercially successful than everyone else, i.e. the pay-per-view. But one could argue that Lennox Lewis is actually the better heavyweight champion in his heyday. When he was being, he's being all the top guys. He had all the titles at the time, and the WBO was not considered a world title at the time, so he had all the other titles. But outside of Lennox Lewis, Anthony Joshua is their guy, especially right now and today. Especially because Dillian White is barking, but ever since he got stopped by Alexander Povetkin, he sort of has to catch up with that first to redeem himself. So yeah, man, I find it that Andy Ruiz, he's gonna do big numbers here in America, and it's a process. Him versus Chris Ariola is right next to Cinco de Mayo, and if if you're American, you know that Andy Ruiz is fighting on the 27th, and that's basically he's trying to capture the Cinco de Mayo, that audience. Understand that if you actually look at the date, Cinco de Mayo is on a Monday, right? And that being said, my boy Andy Ruiz, I'm sorry, it's on a Wednesday, and Andy Ruiz is trying to capture that audience. So him fighting on the 27th of April is actually really smart, or 24th, whichever one it is. But yeah, man. So I see Andy Ruiz coming, and he's gonna be big. People in the UK, they're upset. they're trying to demean him. They're trying to talk him down because he will become a superstar. He will. I just don't see how he couldn't. There's only a handful of fighters that can even give him at least perceived stars that can give him a challenge. Outside of Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, and Tyson Fury, maybe a Luis Ortiz, maybe a Dillian White. There's only literally a handful of fighters. If you're not talking about the champions or recent former champions, Andy Ruiz has a short list, a very, very short list of top guys. Besides that, there's not too many other fights that the heavyweight fights are pay-per-view in America. Deontay Wilder is the only fighter in America right now fighting a pay-per-view, and there's time for other fighters to be fighting for pay-per-view. Sometimes you don't need to be it's crazy how you have to break all the records first to become even viable to even fight on pay-per-view in the first place, and that's ridiculous, man. I know it's a different sport, but the UFC does it all the time. Even in the UK, they have Derek Chisora fighting pay-per-view all the time. I mean, come on, Derek Chisora can fight on pay-per-view, Andy Ruiz can fight on pay-per-view. So wow stuff though, wow stuff. Anyway, man, let me know how you guys feel about it though. They're telling, these foreigners trying to tell Americans how these Andy Ruiz and all these other people, how they're gonna be, they will not be a star in their own country. Wow stuff, man. Wow stuff. Let me know how you guys feel about it though. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geopolitics Empire. Peace.